Thank you. Well, good morning. We are standing here at TEDxVenlo on this chilly, rainy Friday in November. Ugh. Perfect setting to tell you a warm and classic and old story. Imagine a hungry dragon living close to a small village. Imagine frightened villagers because they have no more cattle to feed to the dragon. Imagine destiny. The king's daughter is the first to be offered up to the dragon. Imagine a brave and handsome knight who inspires the villagers to a heroic fight just in time. This story has a happy ending, you might have guessed. The dragon gets killed, and the king's daughter and the knife live happily ever after. But why and how? What makes a community so tight and so powerful, not just in myth, but also in today's dynamic world? And I share 5 lessons with you that help you realize and use that power of your community. 5 lessons that I believe make all the difference. The first lesson is called co-invest or get nothing. If people ask the government for help, first ask them, what can you do? When Ronald Reagan said that the 10 most dangerous words in the history of United States politics were, "I am from the government and I'm here to help," he was only partially wrong. Government can only help if people want to help themselves. And we see that in many initiatives in our community. And let me give you an example. A soccer club calls the government for financial support for realizing a new clubhouse. What is the best way to answer? Is it by asking them what it costs and transferring the money? Or is it by giving them only partial financial support combined with substantial work done by the club members themselves? This question is easy to answer. You might have heard it in the tone of my voice. Experience shows that when government support goes hand in hand with work done by volunteers themselves, the result is better and more sustainable. The feeling of common responsibility increases, so maintaining this clubhouse feels almost like maintaining your own house. So if any support is being asked for in our community, the principle of co-investment is key. A second lesson is Red Bull rather than red tape. And yes, government is often known for its bureaucracy and procedures. But if it really wants to make a difference and really wants to use the power of a community, it is better to have a little bit more the spirit of the Red Bull than to use red tape. And I'll give you an example here as well. A professional organization decided to shut down the daycare facility for elderly people in one of our villages. And the civilians opposed. They wanted their parents to have a chance to enjoy the rest of their lives within their known surroundings. So they made a plan to realize that daycare all by themselves, without any professional support. And that's the moment where the civil servant come in. And they can make all the difference. They can say, don't do it. With it comes a huge responsibility. You're not trained to do so. Remember the procedures, the bureaucracy. But they can also see the chances of this and help these civilians in realizing their dreams. And that is exactly what happened in this case. The spirit of the Red Bull was all around, and civilians and civil servants worked closely together to remove many obstacles. And as a result, until now, 4 days a week, about 20 people are enjoying a very nice daycare facility within their own surrounding, taken care of by volunteers. A classic example of an initiative from the community that was stimulated by government in the right way. Red Bull, no red tape. And my third lesson is called Create a Soul Within Your Community. It really doesn't matter what it is. Every society has at least one thing that people are very proud of, live for and are ready to put a lot of effort into. And the bonding factor that results from that goes way beyond the phenomenon itself. Whether it is a flag, a monument, a cultural event, or a soccer team, these phenomena create a bond, a commitment, a sense of belonging that transcends through society. They are the very soul of it. In Beesel, we have this fight against the dragon, as you might have seen last August. A tradition from the early 18th century. The people have to fight the dragon in order to stay alive. And what follows is a huge open-air spectacle. 6 evenings, a great show, each evening 2,500 visitors, many months of preparations, 80 rehearsals, all taken care of by volunteers, and only one professional director for the play. And nearly every family participates in it somehow. After all, you don't want to be the first generation not to slay the dragon after 200 years, do you? So the point is this: the impact on the society goes way beyond this event every 7 years. The impact is in fact a very strong and powerful community, very much alive, with a huge number of cultural and social activities throughout the year. So the games may only be there every 7 years, but they are the very soul of this community and making it extremely powerful. My fourth lesson is never waste a hot issue. Having a hungry dragon just around the corner is a pretty hot issue, but even in Beesel not a day-to-day reality. Sometimes it takes external events to make people realize how powerful the community is. And some 8-9 years ago, we had a lively discussion about integrating our community into a larger municipality. And the people opposed. They felt that their community was stronger on an independent basis. And that stimulates them, I'm sure, to take an active part in this community, because the spirit of the independence is still around. It unifies people in their pride on their community. And, also very important, it increases the bond between government and society. And that bond is crucial for our day-to-day activities and projects we are performing together in this community. And that bond between government and society brings me to my final lesson, which is called Lead, Celebrate and Cry Together. A bond between a government and a society can be stimulated by a hot issue, as I just mentioned, but also by the way leadership is being performed. One of our great leaders is without doubt Nelson Mandela. And why am I saying this? Because he, once released from prison, he had all the reason to settle the account with previous leadership. And yet, that is not what he did. He provided amnesty to his predecessors. He did not become the leader of the black South Africans that had been suppressed for many centuries. No, he became the leader of all South Africans. He bridged gaps that seemed unbridgeable. And yet, to Mandela, it was not all about Mandela. He was only the facilitator. He brought individuals together. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is an important lesson for the mere mortals that we all are. Leaders in a municipality, whether it is the mayor or a member of the city council, they have to be aware of the fact it's never about them. They are an instrument serving that community, participating in projects and facilitating progress. It is about the way they unify people in working together, in celebrating together, and in grieving together when something bad and ugly happens. Remember, the fight against the dragon was not the success of one handsome knight, but the result of the effort of many. So I share these 5 lessons with you. If you go to your local government soon, remember to co-invest. Make sure to show what your own effort is. If you are a civil servant listening to me, feel the spirit of the Red Bull and try to serve your community in words and attitude. If you have a soul within your community, use it, share it. If you are dealing with a hard issue, exploit it, use it. And if you are a leader, remember, it's never about you, but about the way you are unifying your people. So this is the story of a small community nearby you. The story of a powerful community, a kind of community we need so badly in today's world. So I think this story is worth telling and spreading. But it is also a story that can be yours. When you have visited these fights against the dragon in Beesel, you have seen what a small and powerful community can perform. You witnessed the spirit, the enthusiasm, the connection. So once you've been in Beesel, you're convinced that these 5 lessons are worthwhile. So you can wait another 7 years to see it again. But you can also start tomorrow. That's up to you. Show the world the dragon that is in you. Thank you very much.